Hello friends, the 586th day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. On the Zaporizhia front, the situation is practically unchanged, but with attempts by the Ukrainian army to improve its tactical position. According to Ukrainian military cable channels, heavy fighting continues west of Verbove, where Ukrainian armed forces are trying to breach Russian defenses. At the same time, the Ukrainian army has not yet managed to gain a foothold on the road that goes through Robertina. As the Ukrainian telegram channel Deep State previously reported, the main reason is that the enemy is counter-attacking and doing it with elite paratrooper units. According to him, Russian paratroopers are fighting north and south of Robertina, attacking from the western side. That is, the flank of the advancing Ukrainian units. Russian telegram channels also write about Russian counterattacks of Novoprokopivka, south of Robertina, and from Verbove and Novofedorivka, located north. Friends, before continuing, I would like to draw your attention to the young channel of Maria Vishunova. She posts daily videos with map reviews and the latest news about the war in Ukraine. Let's support Maria and help her develop her channel. The General Staff also reported today in its report about the unsuccessful attack of the Russians at Verbove. At the same time, the American Institute for the Study of War reports of the Ukrainian armed forces have lost some position near Robertina, from where they drove the enemy out 2 weeks ago. According to data from open source, the Institute for the Study of War concluded that on September 13, the Ukrainian army recaptured from the Russian part of the fortification and underground tunnels west of Robertina. However, already on September 30th, experts examined the video of Russian military officers and concluded that the Ukrainian armed forces had to abandon a number of previously captured trenches. Also, pro-Russian expert Syria AK Maps report today that in the last hours the Russian army managed to recapture some position north of Novoprokopivka. There is no confirmation of this data from the Ukrainian side. My friend the robot will continue.
In the Berdyansk sector, the Russians unsuccessfully tried to attack in the Novodarivka area and in the Staromayorsky area, the General Staff reports in today's report. The Russians, in turn, write that the Ukrainian army has reduced its activity and gone on the defensive on the Vremivka ledge. What do the Russians use when attacking from Yevhenii in the direction of Rivnopil, as well as in the area of Yevhenii and Staromayorsky? Ukraine did not confirm these attacks. At the same time, a video appeared on Russian telegram channels showing an attack on the bridge over the Mokryili River in the village of Veluka Novoselka. Let me remind you that a video was previously published showing an attack on the bridge over the Shaitanka River in the same locality. There were no comments on these attacks from the Ukrainian side. As for the Bachmann section, individual Russian telegram channels began to report about the capture of Orlovka north of the city. True, their data varied from complete control to partial. Yesterday they clarified that the Russians only entered the outskirts of the village. The Ukrainian telegram channel Deep State, with reference to the officers of the Ukrainian armed forces fighting there, refutes these statements by the Russians. According to them, despite all the statements of the Russians, the enemy is not having success either in the village itself or on its outskirts. The situation south of Bachmut has not changed. There are oncoming battles near Klishchiivka and Andriivka, as well as attempts by the Ukrainian armed forces to break through Russian positions in the area of the railway embankment. The speaker of the Eastern Group, Yevhenii, spoke about the Wagner PMCs that appear at the front. According to him, these are quite rare cases. We record several literally such that they come to some kind of leadership or instructor positions, but they no longer pose any tactical threat and will not pose any kind. At the same time, the Ukrainian military fighting in the Bachmann sector reported on their Telegram channel about the appearance of the Wagner PMC near Bachmann. According to them, there are the first deaths among the Wagner PMCs, who came again to the Bachmann site already on contracts. They form assault groups and try to work at night, writes the Ukrainian military. In the Kharkiv direction, Russia has increased the strength of the 25th Army. This was stated by the speaker of the Eastern Group Yevhenii. According to him, previously the formation consisted of 12,000 military personnel, now we are talking about more than 17,000. The General Staff reports that over the past 24 hours, an attack by Russians in the Liman sector in the Makiivka area was repulsed. Meanwhile, there are pressing problems at the front, and how to solve them is still a question. The Ukrainian military is experiencing a shortage of drone components due to China, and this gives Russia an advantage on the battlefield, writes the New York Times. Chinese suppliers cut their sales on September 1st when new rules restricting the export of drone components came into effect, the article said. However, Ukrainian volunteers are looking for all possible ways to export drones from China, since it is the largest manufacturer in the world. But Chinese firms are now requiring Ukrainian buyers to use a complex network of intermediaries similar to the one Russia used to circumvent Western export controls. These obstacles increase Russia's advantage, writes the New York Times. According to customs reports, direct deliveries of Chinese drones to Ukraine from January to June amounted to the equivalent of just over $200,000. Over the same period, Russia purchased similar drones for $14.5 million. Therefore, Kiev has to look for more and more sophisticated ways to bypass deliveries, including smuggling, the publication writes. Russia may soon receive not only shells from the DPRK, but also new missiles from Iran. This assessment was made by the chairman of the NATO Military Committee, Rob Bauer, during a visit to Israel. In his opinion, this has already been actually agreed upon between the two countries. Recall that experts suggest that Russia may buy long-range ballistic missiles Fateh and Zulfiqar from Tehran, which hit at a distance of 300 to 700 kilometers after the UN embargo on missile exports from Iran expires in mid-October. If we talk about the time frame of the war, Russia is preparing to fight for several more years, British intelligence believes. Moscow will spend up to 30% of its total expenses on defense next year. As London reports, citing leaked documents from the Russian Ministry of Finance, they want to increase the defense budget by 68% compared to 2023. Intelligence believes Moscow will be able to maintain this level of spending. These figures suggest that Russia is preparing for several more years of fighting in Ukraine, the British Ministry of Defense concludes. In September, Russia launched a record number of Shahed drones across Ukraine, writes the military portal Defense Express. 503 drones were launched, 396 were shot down. Previously, the record was in May 413. In June, 197, in July, 246, in August, 167. The maximum pause between strikes in September was only 2 days. Shaheed's effectiveness increases when firing more than 40 units at a time. Then Ukraine manages to knock down from 73 to 77%. The Air Force notes that the Shaheed is significantly cheaper and faster to produce than the missiles that Russia spent a lot of last year. Despite their massive nature, Shaheed's attacks are quite cheap. According to rough estimates, the cost of one drone is estimated at $20,000 to $40,000. That is, Russia could have spent up to $20 million on the September attacks if it had received drones at cost.
Friends, considering what is happening in my country, this channel is now my only source of income. If you are able to support me financially, I will be very grateful. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.